Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more r/bud hole. And if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. And today's first story comes from Mummy Kraken, who says, am I the arsehole for pointing out what the initials spell? And it does come with an update as well. So, I have a tradition of making tooth fairy pillows for my friends and family when someone is pregnant. I embroider a fancy crest on it with the child's initials in the center. One of my cousins announced that she and her husband were pregnant online, and of course I was so excited for her. I messaged her and asked her if she wanted me to make a pillow for her baby, and she said yes. I told her I could make it now or wait until the baby is born and make it then. I always give people the option to keep their name a surprise. She wanted me to make it now so she could show it to her in-laws, as the baby name was going to have significance to her husband's family. Well, this is where it gets awkward. She told me the name, and it's a lovely name. However, the first name starts with an A, the middle name starts with an S, and the last name also an S. I asked her if she really wanted me to embroider that on a pillow. She video called me at that moment, laughing hysterically, saying she didn't even realize and that she was going to talk to her husband about it and to hold off. I go about my business thinking, phew, bullet dodge for that kid, and that she and her husband would get a good laugh out of their almost mistake. Nope. A couple of hours later, her husband called me and laid into me about how the name chosen was special, and I was trying to turn it crass and making juvenile jokes out of something that was so meaningful to his family. He said a lot, but that was the gist of it. He told me I was an arse and that he didn't want my stupid pillow and told me to stay away from his family, as I clearly had no respect for them. I honestly didn't realize it would be that big of a problem. I just didn't want to embroider profanity on a pillow, not for a baby anyway. His reaction has me wondering if maybe my mind is in the gutter and I'm the only one who has a problem with it. So, am I the arsehole? Info, for those who've asked if I could just do one for the first and last initial. Have no issue. My cousin wanted all three because of the special meaning to her in-laws, until I pointed out the spelling. Now absolutely, you're not going to be the arsehole for pointing this out. You were just pointing out the bloody obvious in this situation. And I hate to say it, but you know, when he gets to school or when other people realize people can be cruel and they will mock him for having, ASS as his initials. And I just feel so sorry for the kid in this situation. They're the one that has to bear these initials for the rest of their life. And even the wife in this was laughing hysterically, as you said, and saw the issue with it. And putting myself into, the parent's shoes in this, and I could see there would be an issue with that name in the future. Like a name that may be potentially mocked by the child's peers or whatever. I wouldn't go with that name. And I always get comments on these types of stories about names that always say, but Mark, you can't bend over to pressure from society and all this sort of stuff about names, etc. And I would think, if I was naming myself something like that and I saw there was possible repercussions and it was all down to my choice, then fair enough. But I'm not putting that decision on someone who has no control of it at that particular moment, a baby that has to grow up with that name. I'm just sorry, I couldn't do it myself. But Alicia for you says he's pissed he was too stupid to realize they were naming his kid Arse. Judgment, not the arsehole. A deleted user says not the arsehole. They give the kid the initials ASS and now their kid is going to have to deal with it for the rest of their lives. A suggestion though, if he's so upset about no pillow, make him a pillow with a big whole arse. If he asks you why you made his daughter a pillow, when he said he didn't want it anymore, tell him it's for him, not her. Miss Shrimpto says not the arsehole. Other people will absolutely notice and children will mock their child. You are not making that happen. You're just pointing out a fact. Crock of Pot says, in quotes, he told me I was an arse, and then goes on to say, like his future kid, not the arsehole. And Active Ambassador says, not the arsehole, that poor kid. When their peers find out, it's going to be nothing but jokes around their initials. My partner and I, when expecting our youngest, while picking out names, made sure to write what the initials would be. We ended up vetoing a lot of names, but at least we came up with something that wouldn't cause our child to be ridiculed for something out of their control. You were just being another set of eyes trying to help. The husband sounds like he's got issues though. And one final comment from Dick Rickshaw, who says, "Not the arsehole. Does your cousin know her husband called you? I find it strange that she laughed it off and he flew off the handle." To which OP replied saying, "I don't think she does. It's not normally something she'd let him do. We keep our own family in check, if that makes sense." So if I was a jerk to my brother-in-law, my sister would give me an earful, but I don't know my cousin's husband that well, so maybe that's not his family dynamic. Maybe they're a confront the person yourself kind of people. So now with all that information, let's move on to the update to find out what happened next. So the update says, okay, so before I could decide what to do, my cousin and her husband called. For all of you calling him an arse, well, you were right. He is an arse too. The third to be precise. He always went by middle name, so I didn't know. He's been getting a lot of pressure from his parents to carry on the family tradition for his unborn son. He apparently was also bullied a lot in school for his initials. He was actually really sorry for going off on me. I guess my cousin called him laughing about it and he didn't want to get mad at her, so he redirected to me, the messenger. Straw that broke the camel's back kind of situation. He admitted he's got some issues to work through, but he gave me a proper and I feel sincere apology. And my cousin has promised me some of my favourite chocolate is on the way to my house as we speak. I'm relieved because I didn't want family functions to become awkward, nor did either of us want the wrath of our grandma to befall cousin's husband. They've been discussing it, and they're going to go with a name they actually like, rather than making their son an arse. They did ask nicely if we'd still make the pillow, but after kid is born, so dad won't have pre-warning the kiddo won't also be an arse. And they have the whole name to figure out again too. I will make them the pillow, after the chocolate arrives. Lol. And it's another one of those but family situations again, where the family is putting pressure on husband to name his child the initials, something that he got bullied for himself. It's absolutely insane. I just find it so incredibly sad, that family can have such pressure on someone to do such things. This guy was bullied in school because of his initials, and then it's like, yes, my child needs to be named that as well because my family wants me to pass it down to sort of the next generation. Knowing what he went through, it's being overridden by his family's pressure. But I hope he doesn't turn around on his decision now and realize, like he said, he admitted he's got some issues to work through and gave you an apology and hopefully some chocolates as well. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. And our next story comes from Ehaler, who says, "Am I the arsehole for proposing to my girlfriend at my brother's wedding and posting it on social media? My brother and his wife got married last week. It was a big beach wedding with about 100 people. While the bride and groom were doing their photo shoot that took an hour, the guests were walking down the beach, having some snacks that were served, talking to each other, etc. We were waiting for the dinner to be served and just killing time. My girlfriend and I have been together for 10 years and have a kid together. Marriage just never came up. We are both really not the romantic type. When our son was born, I jokingly told her I'd propose to her on a beach at sunset someday. So after the wedding, we were walking down the beach. We were alone. No one was even paying any attention to us at all because there were 100 people there. I just asked her, so, beach at sunset, will you marry me? She said yes, I assume. We had a good laugh, took a selfie together and slowly walked back to the site of the reception. We haven't told anyone we are getting married yet. It will be a courthouse wedding anyway. 2 days ago, my girlfriend posted that selfie on her social media, tagged me and wrote a caption, "Finally marrying the love of my life," and a sunset beach proposal. Now everyone who knows us knew it was a sarcastic caption and knew it was more of a joking post than anything else. Brother and sister-in-law called us very upset hours after that post. Sister-in-law said we ridiculed their wedding with our post. Brother said I'm an arsehole for proposing at someone else's wedding. Am I the arsehole? And usually in these ones from the title you see, someone proposing at someone else's wedding is automatically going to be a you're the arsehole. But because of what happened during the story and people were out of sight, there was some mixed comments. So we're going to cover some of those straight away. And we're going to start off with Primary Criticism 929, who says, I was ready to say you are the arsehole, but you didn't propose in front of everybody. You didn't announce it at the reception and you waited 2 days to post it, so not the arsehole. Sister-in-law is the one who is ridiculous here. Dagnabbit Sunday says the whole reason you shouldn't propose at someone's wedding is because the attention should be on the bride and groom and because it would be rude, insensitive, etc. to steal the attention from them. If you and your now fiance were alone, didn't tell anyone until after the wedding and literally nobody knew about the engagement at the time, therefore you didn't steal any attention from the ones getting married, then I would say not the arsehole. Adil says, I was getting ready to vote you're the arsehole for selfishly using someone else's special day to make your proposal, but after reading the whole post, not the arsehole. You didn't announce it at the time and take attention away from the newlyweds. You didn't do it in front of a bunch of people. You didn't even tell anyone. You just quietly went about your business, and even the social media post came days after the wedding. Brother and sister-in-law are being laughable at their ludicrous notion that something they didn't even know had happened until days later has somehow retroactively ruined their wedding. Gnarled Nat says, I mean, of all the ways to propose at someone else's wedding, this is probably the least tacky. Still, you'd think that in 10 years together, you could have found a different occasion. Soft, you're the arsehole. Spider Monkey says, soft, you're the arsehole since you didn't make a big scene, but don't propose at someone else's wedding unless you got permission from the bride and groom beforehand. You have 364 other days to make a proposal. Nico Cazzini says, you're the arsehole for saying everyone knows it's a joke when it clearly isn't, and your bro and sister-in-law didn't take it as one. Your girlfriend is the arsehole for posting about getting engaged during someone else's wedding. Arinesi says, soft, you're the arsehole. It's tacky to propose at someone else's wedding, and your excuse about how you told her you propose on the sunset one day doesn't change that. Why didn't you take her to a beach to propose before this wedding? It's like you took advantage of someone else's romantic moment to give your partner a half-assed proposal. I don't fully understand the end where you say your partner made a joke saying you proposed to her on a beach, but it was clearly supposed to be a joke. Didn't that actually happen? How is that a joke if it actually happened? And one more from Sammy Loops 1 who says, I'm going against what I'm seeing and saying you're the arsehole. You don't propose at someone else's wedding, not without their explicit permission. I don't care if no one else saw you. Everyone saw you once it was posted on social media. Just because you got away with it at the time doesn't make it any less of a dick move. You've been with your girlfriend 10 years. What was the rush that you had to take the bride and groom's day? You couldn't have gone to the beach with her some other day? And I was kind of on the fence on this one. For a couple of reasons really, and I think I'll get hate either way on this, but you said like you was alone, no one was even paying any attention to us because there were 100 people there, so there was people around, they just weren't paying attention, so the risk factor alone kind of made it like a slight you're the arsehole to me in some ways, there was the risk of taking the attention away from the bride and groom, but hey, you got away with it, so it moved on. So then I was putting myself in like the bride and groom's position, and then this post come up on social media. Personally, myself, and this is only purely from my perspective, I wouldn't be bothered by that. A couple on social media, I found out that they proposed at my wedding and, they're getting married and there was a picture from the wedding of them getting married. It's in the past to me now. I don't really care. I'm moving on with my life. I may in the background think you bloody cheeky so-and-sos, but that'd be about it. They got away with it kind of thing. So I kind of like not the arsehole from that perspective. And then I put myself in like OP shoes, walking down the beach and all that sort of thing. And I still, for myself, again, it's purely a mere opinion here. I don't think for myself it'd be appropriate to propose at anyone's wedding, regardless of where I am on that day. Especially like one commenter said, you got like the whole rest of the year to propose if you really want to. And I know some people are more spur of the moment kind of thing, but yeah, it was just all over the place as well. So I would absolutely love to know your opinion on this one as well, if you have a moment of your time, of course. And let's move on to another story. And our next story comes from reference Beat53, who says, am I the arsehole for moving out when my mum said she wanted my baby and would do anything to get it? I, 19 female, am about 38 weeks pregnant from unfortunate circumstances, and I live with my mum. Background: my mum, 49 female, has always bragged about how good of a mother she is and how she wished she could have more, but fertility problems stop that. She is in fact not a good mum because she mostly ignored me after I turned 5 and just provided the bare minimum so people wouldn't call it neglect. Now I'm due any day now, and I was putting the finishing touches to the nursery when she came in and said, I can't wait until my baby boy is here and you move out and I can have him all to myself. I laughed and asked what she is talking about, and she said, well, since you didn't want him in the beginning due to how he was conceived, you'd give him to me and move out. I told her no, I wouldn't be doing that, and I intend to raise my baby because I love him already, and that she can be grandma only, and that's the end of the discussion. She then flipped out and said with a smirk, what if I kick you out? You'll be homeless and the court would never let you keep him. I will do anything to get my baby. See, now what she doesn't know is that if she kicked me out, I would in fact not be homeless. I have access to over $300,000 from my dad's death. I paid $200 a month to live here while working at a deli. I don't get how she could forget that. After she said that, I called my boyfriend and asked if he could help me take down the nursery and help me pack. He came over the next day and we had everything packed in 3 hours while my mum was at work. I didn't move in with my boyfriend because we've only been together for 3 months. I moved to a hotel while I looked for an apartment, all while heavily pregnant. She came home and saw my room and nursery empty and started calling non-stop. I didn't answer, but then the police show up to my hotel room with her saying I'm missing and that I'm 17, not 19. She tracked my phone. I took care of it, then blocked her and switched rooms and threw away my phone. Now family and her are slandering me, saying I'm turning against family and I changed my mind at the last second when I said I would give her the baby. I never said she could have him. Am I the arsehole? Now instantly from that last paragraph, the way you talk about your mum and the way she's acting in this, I mean, it sounds unhinged to me, but I wonder if your family, you said family are slandering you. I wonder if they know the full story, or is she manipulating them as well to sort of back her side? Are they getting the full truth? I understand we've seen some crazy but family stories, but I would hope any normal person that would hear about even a couple of the things that went on in this particular story, she's saying that she would kick you out and you'll be homeless, saying that she will do anything to get this baby, anyone else would step back and think, hold up, wait a minute, something's not right, and be saying to themselves, are we really getting the full story here? And I'm sure the comments, as always, will give a lot of valuable advice to OP, but to me it just feels like one of those situations. I know it's incredibly difficult and it's easy for me to say, but just to get out of there, because what is the other option in this situation from the way the mum is acting? But Animaniac 2 says, not the arsehole, but it sounds like you need a restraining order and you need to notify the hospital when you give birth that you need extra protection to make sure she doesn't try to walk out with him. Elise says, not the arsehole, your mum has issues and it's scary. Don't let her know where you move to. Be careful what you put on social media and quite frankly, consider a restraining order. Are you sure that $300K is still there and she didn't do something with it? Make sure she's not on that account ASAP. OP replied saying, I've moved it completely once she told me she wanted my baby. Jess the prequel says, not the arsehole, but please invest some of that money into a consultation with a family law attorney. Your mum sounds unhinged and like she is fully capable of lying and manipulating to get what she wants. The fact she made a threat to you, her own daughter, made my stomach drop. Do not trust her or put anything past her, including making false allegations against you to a judge, e.g. that you're a drug addict, abusive, etc. Consulting with a family law attorney will not only give you guidance on how to best maneuver the situation from a legal standpoint, but also set precedents that you have concerns before she does anything. Not your mum says, not the arsehole, you are 200% not the arsehole. You reference that your pregnancy comes from unfortunate circumstances. If you live in the US, you may be able to access a social worker for yourself and the baby. I would suggest reaching out to a local women's shelter to ask for help. They can help direct you to resources even if you don't need a place to stay. Your mum has already shown that she's unreasonable. If you can access your funds from your father, consider hiring an attorney with background in family law. You may need to file for a restraining order, and if your mum is trying to weaponize the cops, she might also try to weaponize CPS. A lawyer can help you protect you and the baby. You are under no obligation to give baby to anyone, and you clearly need a support system. Seek out a lawyer to help you protect yourself and baby. To which OP replied saying, yeah, once I told her what happened to me, she just automatically thought the baby was more hers than mine. I thought her being controlling was her being a concerned and excited grandma. Now, what would you advise to OP in this situation? I can only see one other way, and that's just like getting out of there for the time being. But it honestly feels to me that it's going to take more than that to shake her off. I mean, calling the cops saying that she's missing and that she's 17 after she tracked her phone. It sounds like someone that just won't stop at anything really. But what do you guys make of this one? Now, once again, a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, support and time always means the absolute world to me and to this channel. So thank you so much for what you do. It's absolutely amazing. And hopefully I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Much love.
Wake up, get up, stretch my legs, eat some breakfast, milk and eggs, brush my teeth up, wash my face, throw my clothes on, start my day. Wake up, I can smell the smoke from the bacon. Let's go, see the sun shining from the windows. Okay, I know that today